Okay, so I have everything clamped up ready to glue, so just put some wax paper down, ready to glue that. Clamp this down, and you could even put a block here and clamp that down, because when you glue and clamp this will naturally want to slip this way, so you'll see me fighting that. Okie dokie. So, things you need to do at this stage. You just want to see how this kicks back here. You just want to slide that up. You don't really want it to be this way too much, or this way too much. Just, try and get it really close. I don't try and get it, spot on, but close enough. It's going to slip, so I usually put it a little bit this way, so this is overhanging a bit, and then when it slips, it'll slip back the right way to maybe where you want it. Just some cawls. This is a smaller cawl on this side, and one on the back here. So that's what we're looking at there. And you don't want this cawl to be over this edge, and you don't want this cawl to be over this edge. It can be right up close. What I'm going to do is put a block here. Because I might as well. And that will just stop that slipping. And I'm going to put another one at the back. Okay, so this is where I am at the moment. You could do all this before you put the glue on, by the way. Now we're just going to put a couple of clamps here. So this is a uke, so I'm just going to do 2 clamps, one at the base and one at the top. On a guitar, you can either do 2, sometimes I do 4 smaller ones. Okie dokie. So you can see the glue squeeze out here. That actually stayed pretty much exactly where I had it. It didn't slip because of these blocks. And the glue squeeze out at the back. So I'll just get a bit of, it is actually a good idea to clean this glue up. So I'm going to do that. Oh, there's one more thing which can happen. Is happening, maybe? No, it's not. I thought this was riding upwards, but this is just a bit thinner. But you can see this is on the ground or on the flat, and this is flat. But sometimes the neck or this wants to ride up this way, and the way to stop that is to clamp that down like that. And if it's happening to the actual neck, you just clamp that down. So much like this clamp, we clamp this down, and then you can put another one in here just so it all doesn't kind of swish up. I don't know the term, but so that is how you glue up a scarf joint without it slipping. So just use the block on either end, clamp the neck down. You can probably best to do it in two places after you put the glue on and get this happening. You can clamp this down and clamp these. Probably best to clamp these down and then do this. But now I will show you the rest of it. Yes. Okay, so this is a different neck, but it's at the same stage. So just pretend this is just glued up. That's a pretty good job. I didn't clean this glue up apparently, but so that was really close, but you know, it still needs to be cleaned up a bit. So we're going to do that now. So we can clean up that glue, squeeze out here. Actually, you can see how it slipped back a little bit, just there. And then it's a little bit forward here. Nothing at all to worry about, but how to do this is you can either use a little block plane that you can just rather number 7. And it's done. So just a couple of swipes of number 7, and it's really nice. Bit of a gap there still, but even if I get it nice with the plane, I'll come back with some sandpaper. On a block, on a flat block. And clean it up. So that's, I don't know, 100 or 80. And that's 180, I think. And now that's perfect. I suppose we can check the angle of this. If it's still 15, I'm not too worried about it. So this is it's like 14.5. So I mean that's close enough. So the next part, this is actually a baritone neck, but a baritone neck joining at the 14th fret seems to be about the same length as a 19-inch tenor joining at the 15th fret. So lucky us. So I'm just going to use this neck now. So just mark the nut position. So that's the line where the neck turns into the headstock. Then I come back about 5 mil. I don't measure it, I just sort of guess it. And that's where the edge of the fingerboard is going to go on this second line. And so here to here, I'm just going to line up those two lines, and then my body join going to be the 15th fret. So normally this would be the 14th fret or the 12th fret on a like classical guitar, or some ukes, traditional ukes, and some modern ones, and guitars as well, steel string guitars. Actually, I'm making 3 of those at the moment. Anyway, so follow that line down the edge. That might be a touch hard for you to see, but and then I just double check this. That's good. Okay, so now we're ready. So just to reiterate, we've glued the scarf joint on. We've made this nice and clean. Now, after doing that, we can establish the real area where the nut is going to be and the fingerboard is going to be. After all that, now we've got the body join, and with that we can glue a block on. So this isn't the actual block I'm going to use, but this, just say this was the block I was going to use. You would leave however amount you feel you need for the tenon or the dovetail or whatever you are going to do. That would be about that much for me. And then you join that line up with that line. And once this is glued up, then this will be cut off there. And then you just glue that on after you've made sure this is flat and this is flat. The only other thing you need to take into account is if you've got enough, if you have enough wood here for whatever heel shape you are going to do. So just say this was my one, the lines here. So this would be more than enough. So normally a uke heel, it's about an inch. It just depends if you do what kind of heel shape you do. If you do like a pointed heel, you just have to measure from here to here. If you can see this. Nope, can't. If you do a pointed heel, then you just have to measure this distance and to say it's 1 inch. Then that will be there eventually, so you just have to make sure you've got 1 inch here and whatever else you need. But normally a like 2.5 inch block is more than enough for a heel. I usually get away with 2 inches. It's basically 1/2 inch for the tenon, and that's like the finished length of the tenon, and then like a 1 inch deep for the heel. That's just for my own heel shapes and stuff. So the other thing, I should have mentioned this a little bit before I started this video. So once this is glued up and before you've trued this up, you can get your headstock template and you can just move it up to, so this is my nut line, so it actually starts here, not here. But if I put this line against this line, and this is just how I do my necks, then I've got, just leave a little bit there. You only need to leave like 1/4 inch or something. But if it's out here or something, then just chop it off 1/8 or 1/4 inch close. Otherwise you'll be truing up way more wood than you need to. And that goes with if you need to true up this area as well. Sometimes when you cut this, it bows or something, and maybe it twists, and you've got to true it up again. That's another thing when you cut, it's a good idea to cut this, and so with this blank, I've got 3, maybe 4 necks, probably 3 necks out of it, but I'll cut these, and you can just leave them sitting for a month or 2 or however long, and that just will get any twists and turns and whatever tensions in the wood out of there. So I've got like a whole bunch of these necks cut up from ages ago, and they're just sitting there drying. What else is there? So the gluing on the block is it's a lot easier than doing the scarf joint. You just because it's a flat glue join to a flat glue join, you just clamp it on, match up the lines, and you're good to go. So that's how you make a scarf joint 3-piece neck. The only other thing, just before you glue the we took care of this in the beginning, but you know, sometimes people do different things. Just before you glue the heel on, just make sure this is about the right thickness. Yeah. And if you do a glue join with a separate heel, or a neck with a separate heel, you can use this glue joint to help get a symmetrical carve with when you're doing the heel, and I've got another video on that. Yeah, so that is that. This is how this will turn out eventually. One second. So this will turn into that. So that line just there. Hang on. Like usual, I need one more hand. So this line here becomes this edge here. Beautiful. And you can see the line of the heel there. You can use that glue line when you're looking straight down. You can use that glue line to see if you're getting a symmetrical carve. Very handy, and you don't get that with a one-piece neck. And you save a lot of wood doing a three-piece neck, so it's kind of a win-win. And the volutes are a bit harder, but they do look good. Just a tip on that: have the volute, the point, sort of further back from the nut. Otherwise, you know, in first position you'll be touching this. You don't want that. And this is just, you know, a strength thing too around here. Anyway, that's it. Thanks very much. If you like these sort of things, please subscribe. Let me know what you want to hear about. Bye. I thought of two more things to say. So I didn't talk about grain orientation of the neck, but normally, and you know, always, the grain is quarter sawn, so the grain's like that. And you know, it can be, I think, 20 or 30% off quarter. I don't know, that's about that much for it to still be able to legally call it quarter sawn. And the same goes, let me just put this between the legs, and the same goes with the neck block. So you probably can't see this, but the grain is like that, and you want to glue the heel block in the same direction like that. And obviously on the other end it's quarter sawn this way as well. That's it. That's my last final word. Oh no, there was one more thing. So that would be like that. The only other consideration, I don't really need to say this, but you just have to make sure that this depth is at least as deep as what you're gluing it to. So this is going to be a U-neck, and see how it's taller than the body. That's what you want, or just at the body, you know, as deep as the body at least. But yeah, you obviously want the heel to be at least as deep as the body. Go a little bit deeper, because when you're carving you get chip-aways, like things break off and stuff, so it's good to have a little bit of extra meat. That's it. That's definitely all I'm saying about this. Alright, bye.